Although you are all wearing masks, you are still teachers of Jingshan County. Don't think of threatening us. Threatening. We can't survive anymore. As local governments across China face tight fiscal situations, those hit hardest are the lower-level civil servants in impoverished counties and cities. In the footage, hundreds of primary and secondary school teachers in Jingshan County, Nanchang City, Jiangxi Province reportedly haven't received their full salaries for nearly a year. They surrounded the county government building late at night, chanting slogans such as, "We want to live, we want to survive, give us back our hard-earned money," and "We can't live like this." Reportedly, primary school teachers in Jingshan County earn only 1,900 yuan per month, which is about $260. Given their generally modest salaries, these teachers, typically responsible for supporting both elderly parents and children, as well as bearing other financial burdens like mortgages and medical expenses, face significant economic pressure. Starting last year, due to the county's budget shortfall, they have gone several months without receiving their salary, usually comprising half of their income. They haven't received any performance bonuses either, putting them in a difficult financial situation and leaving them with no choice but to take to the streets late at night to seek justice. The fiscal strain on provincial governments across China isn't a new issue, particularly over the past 3 years due to spending on pandemic control and lockdown measures. According to the annual budget reports of local Chinese governments, just in 2022, the national government spent at least 352 billion yuan on handling the pandemic. This year, with economic growth falling short of expectations and a series of collapses in the real estate market, local governments are losing their primary revenue source from land sales. Combined with the withdrawal of foreign investment and reduced local tax revenues due to lockdowns, these factors have led to a severe fiscal crisis for many local governments this year, with some even on the brink of bankruptcy. There have been reports of civil servant salary reductions and delays in payment across various institutions. At the end of September this year, Hong Kong media reported that some areas in Guangdong have started to delay issuing subsidies to civil servants. Both Beijing and Tianjin have proposed clear plans for salary cuts. In Zhejiang, some civil servants saw their salaries cut by as much as 20%. A Zhejiang provincial civil servant reported that his unit suddenly announced salary cuts at the beginning of the year, and similar situations have occurred in other districts. He said, "My income has dropped by at least 30 to 40,000 yuan this year. I'm close to retirement, so it's okay for me, but it's tough for the younger ones." Not just in third and fourth tier cities, even economically significant provinces like Tianjin and Jiangsu face dire fiscal situations. It is rumored that in Shanghai, the annual salary of department directors has been reduced from 350,000 to 200,000 yuan, and section chiefs from 240,000 to 150,000 yuan, a reduction of over 40%. The Tianjin municipal government and the public transport group are reported to have owed salaries to over 18,000 employees for several months. The Hebei district of Tianjin even had to borrow money from the local Dabei monastery to pay wages. Schools and various institutions in Tianjin have also experienced widespread salary arrears, with some civil servants losing performance bonuses and overtime pay for weekends. A local entrepreneur familiar with the situation bluntly stated, "Tianjin is already bankrupt." In an exclusive interview with Radio Free Asia, the entrepreneur said, "Tianjin's finances are bankrupt, with debts far exceeding its output. For example, in Tianjin, corporate tax income is paid quarterly. The revenue from the invoices issued in the first quarter is considered income, and the tax is due, but the money is not received until the fourth quarter. This results in a high tax burden for enterprises. Tianjin's business environment is very poor. Many people think that higher-ups secure their positions and lower-level officials just bide their time, but that's not the case. Lower-level officials are more aggressive in extortion and bribery, seizing any opportunity to make money, worsening the business environment. I have been fined over 100,000 yuan this year." To avoid bankruptcy, local governments have no choice but to increase taxes, but this burdens businesses and accelerates their departure. Moreover, in many major cities, including Shanghai, as economic conditions worsen, lower-level officials intensify their extortion and bribery of businesses and affiliated enterprises, creating a vicious cycle that hastens economic decline. Additionally, heavily indebted local governments have reportedly been restricted by the central government from launching new projects. Reuters reported that the Chinese State Council has implemented new project control measures for 12 provinces and municipalities with severe debt issues. According to sources cited in the report, the debt-stricken areas include 7 provinces and 3 autonomous regions, including Liaoning, Jilin, Guizhou, and Yunnan, as well as the municipalities of Tianjin and Chongqing. These 12 local governments, except for projects approved by the central government, are not allowed to establish new projects, such as train stations or power plants. China's debt structure has long been characterized by local government debt far exceeding that of the central government. According to 2022 data, local debt accounts for 76% of GDP, while central debt is only 21%. In such a situation, any external changes pose significant risks to local finances and heighten concerns about a systemic financial crisis. According to the latest data from the Ministry of Finance of the People's Republic of China, as of the end of September 2023, the total debt of local governments amounted to 38.8 trillion RMB. To alleviate local financial pressures, on October 24th, the National People's Congress Standing Committee approved a proposal to issue an additional 1 trillion yuan in government bonds. According to Chinese state media, all funds will be transferred to local governments, divided into 500 billion RMB for use this year and 500 billion RMB for next year. The official rationale for this bond issuance is to support post-pandemic recovery and reconstruction. Financial experts state that this is the first time since the founding of the People's Republic of China that an additional fiscal deficit has been approved within a fiscal year, indicating the severity of China's current economic situation, which is expected to worsen. According to Bloomberg data collected from the Chinese Ministry of Finance, from 2015 to 2022, in the general public budget, the scale of central government transfers to local governments has continuously increased more than 70%. The proportion of central transfer payments to local government general public budget revenue has gradually risen from 66% to 85%. While issuing national bonds to provide blood transfusion to local governments temporarily resolves the bankruptcy crisis, it inevitably increases the central government's debt. This year, Chinese authorities have repeatedly called on governments at all levels to tighten their belts and prepare for a long-term period of austerity. Xi Jinping, in a meeting of the Central Comprehensive Deepening Reforms Commission on November 7th, also emphasized this rare point, stating, "It is necessary to improve the budget system for state-owned capital operations, adhere to the idea of living frugally, and eliminate extravagance and waste." Experts believe that the emergence of this message indicates that China is facing a severe economic challenge. David Huang, an American economist, commented, "China's local finance and state-owned enterprises are facing serious financial issues, reflecting the current suboptimal economic situation, hence the need to cut expenditures." Before October 18th, 18 provinces in China had confirmed the issuance of special refinancing bonds to repay existing debts, totaling over 800 billion yuan. These special bonds are used to pay off debts like government arrears to enterprises. China's local government debt has become a bottomless pit, causing significant headaches for the central government. Professor Xie Tian from the University of South Carolina's Aiken School of Business pointed out that the collapse of China's real estate market has triggered financial risks and social problems, and the domestic economic situation is extremely severe. Despite the central government repeatedly implementing quantitative easing policies to provide funds to local governments to maintain political stability, such temporary monetary supply can only delay the crisis. When the debt crisis finally erupts, it will not only be a disaster for the victims, but also a fatal blow to the Chinese Communist regime. The teachers in Jinshan County are not the only victims of local government's brink of bankruptcy. Even the public security system used for maintaining stability has experienced delays in wage payments. A Jiangsu dissident, once detained by the police, revealed to the media, "During the Asian Games, I was under stability maintenance. During casual conversation, the political security personnel said they didn't know where their wages for the next month would come from. The government is now very stingy. Even the funds for stability maintenance are insufficient." Meanwhile, online discussions questioned whether civil servant pay cuts might trigger a vicious economic cycle, sparking heated debate. He Xiaobei, deputy director of the Macroeconomics and Green Finance Lab at Peking University's National Development Institute, mentioned the low inflation trap in the latest issue of the China Economic Observation Report, analyzing political risks facing the country and how to avoid them. However, He Xiaobei stated in the report that the government's salary reduction for local civil servants could lead to a decline in consumption, subsequently triggering a series of vicious economic cycles. This interpretation by the public, suggesting the government should not cut salaries, sparked intense online debate, with many netizens expressing opposition. Netizens mockingly commented, "Don't support pay cuts for civil servants, but support staff reductions, cutting down by half and then doubling the income for the remaining ones with a last-in, first-out system. Wow, it looks like they're preparing to fire half the people who actually work. Support halving the number of civil servants, get rid of the group who don't do their job, double their salaries, a measure stronger than any other. If the salaries aren't reduced, it will affect everyone's quality of life and family stability." Experts believe that civil servants are vital for a country's operation, and forced salary cuts could indeed have negative effects, political commentator Wang He said. People might harbor resentment, leading to arbitrary fines and fees, exploiting their power for personal gain, further disrupting social order. First, enterprises will be hit, private and foreign businesses will flee even faster, creating a vicious cycle. Under financial pressure, civil servants are being forced to take pay cuts and lose performance bonuses, and some provinces are even encouraging civil servants to leave their posts to start businesses. At the end of October, provincial development and reform commissions in places like Sichuan and Jiangsu issued notices emphasizing the implementation of key group entrepreneurship promotion actions, supporting departmental personnel to start their businesses, especially encouraging leave post entrepreneurship, including part-time work, job rotation, and project cooperation. Jiangsu Province, in particular, is encouraging public servants to start businesses, allowing professional and technical personnel in institutions to retain their personnel relations for 3 years while on leave, continue to participate in social insurance and occupational pensions, and maintain regular promotion and salary increases. This news sparked heated discussions among netizens, with some questioning why government and public institution employees receive such special treatment and if it represents a form of privilege. A netizen from Jiangsu Province said, "Jiangsu Province is now starting to encourage civil servants to go into business. It feels like we're back in the 1990s. Local governments are starting to push people out. Previously, becoming a civil servant was the best choice because it was secure. In the future, civil servants, institutions, enterprises, state-owned enterprises, etc., probably won't be as good as before." There are also concerns whether these encouraged entrepreneurs will be able to return to their original public departments after 3 years. A netizen said, "Those who were previously suspended without pay for pandemic prevention were eventually cleared out. It would be better for those officials to be suspended without pay." Surprisingly, despite financial difficulties and civil servant salary cuts, the Chinese Communist Party is still expanding recruitment in many departments this year. China News Service reported that this year's civil service exams plan to recruit 39,600 people, an increase of 2,500 people, or about 6.7%, compared to the previous year. The positions are mainly concentrated in tax, customs, railway police, and immigration border stations, with the national tax system remaining the big recruiter, offering 10,063 positions. Wang He remarked that customs and taxation are departments that can assist the CCP in collecting money. The CCP is expanding recruitment in these posts because they bring greater benefits. Recently, registration for the 2024 national exam just ended, with the preliminary count of applicants reaching a record-breaking 2.91 million, more than double the 1.38 million in 2019. This shows that despite the increasing difficulty of securing a golden rice bowl in civil service compared to private enterprises that may lay off or close down at any time, the public sector is still perceived as more secure. Regardless of how golden the rice bowl really is, in the current difficult employment situation, stability is a key consideration and what everyone strives for. In an unstable environment, the system always has a huge attraction for those outside it.